Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man. One look at his resume and the reason becomes clear. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transformation, transmutation, and self-awakening, he lives his bliss as a teacher, mentor, speaker, minister, and so much more. His mission is to live, move, and be an active, which is an acronym, authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, emancipate, awaken, and empower people and communities. Reverend Dr. Ray, the floor is yours.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. So, the winds of change, huh? Well, let's just say this, that the original idea of what today's talk was going to be and what actually may come out of my mouth might be two different things, because a couple of things with the wind of change have occurred. So we'll see what happens. But the intention to talk about was a commitment to a vision calls us to embrace change, transformation, and newness. As we boldly step into the unknown, pause on that one as we boldly step into the unknown. Now, I say pause on that one because, there are a lot of us, we love our security. We love knowing exactly which way, which route, which person, which phone number, which checklist, which blueprint, which we like knowing. We have a plan, and anything that deviates from that plan is evil. So we boldly step into the unknown, into the mystery. We find ourselves navigating the winds of change, welcoming some and resisting others, because we have to be honest. There are some things, some changes we welcome. That new job, yes. The death of a family member, not so much. That new relationship when we're all booed up and huggy and lovey-dovey, kissy-kissy, until the covert narcissism shows up and we're like, oh, you got to go. But we love that, so we resist. So if we're going to be honest, we have to understand that there are some changes that we welcome freely, openly, and there are some that we resist. We have the opportunity to choose how we are going to live forward. Notice it didn't say live backwards. We're going to live forward. And if we're going to live forward, then we change. Now, this whole concept of wind, because there are many ideas of wind that are destructive. There are many feelings we have about wind that are not pleasant. Because when we think breeze is nice. Breeze is, oh, feel the breeze. But the moment we think wind, whether it's the wind of a tornado, the wind of a hurricane, someone breaking wind, whatever it is, like we're not very, don't laugh at me, Tracy, we're not as embracing of that, right? However, if we're really going to dive deep into the unknown and dive deep into this idea of living forward, then it causes us to, or invites us to shift some of the idea we hold about that. Science of Mind says, this is the greatest discovery of all time. The road to freedom lies not through mysteries or occult performances, but through the intelligent use of nature's forces and laws. So ultimately what Holmes is inviting us to do, or is to be mindful that it's not through some mysterious, magical, glittery kind of whatever that is, but it's through understanding that there are natural laws, physical laws, and spiritual laws that when we learn to harness them, use them, and work in alignment with them, then life changes. Whatever the results are, change. Same thing with wind. Yes, there is wind, but when we learn how to channel it, when we learn how to use it constructively and effectively, when we learn how to harness the power of wind, then what do we have? So same thing, when we learn how to harness the power of anger, because we're going to feel anger. When we learn how to harness the power of the unknown, when we learn how to harness the power of grief, whatever it is, when we understand that there are natural laws and spiritual laws, and that when we work and live in alignment with them and harness the power, we are able to live far more effectively, far more authentically, far more, dare I say, divinely, because we are then working in accordance with divine law. Ernest Holmes also says, instead of being confused by the situations around us, we should be calm. Take that in. Instead of being confused by the situations around us, we should be calm, tranquil, and confident that through reforming our word, we can easily change the existing conditions as perpetuate them. So let's take this in for a second, because calm and tranquil and confident don't necessarily mean inactive. It doesn't mean just sit there on the bench, stoop and watch life go by. You can calmly, because in studying martial arts, I realized that you can calmly introduce someone to the ground and say, look, no, I'm not giving you my wallet. No, you have no business punching that child. No, you, whatever, right? You can calmly and with great tranquility through Tai Chi or Aikido or you can calmly and tranquilly resist when you see injustice. So calm, tranquil, and confident does not mean sit by, twiddle your thumbs, and simply meditate and simply pray, but not move your feet, not make a phone call to a congressperson or senator, right? So being mindful, because it is in reforming our word, and it's not just the words we speak. Word is, and the word was made flesh. When we reform our word, we are reforming our being, the way we show up, because we can just as easily change the existing condition or continue to perpetuate it. So how we are living, how the word made flesh is showing up. Are we perpetuating the status quo, business as usual model of blah, blah, blah? Or are we shifting and changing by harnessing the power of our word, the power of the word, the power of whatever this is in a calm, tranquil, and confident manner? Cartoon. I know it's a hard habit to break, but it's useless to check your messages with that seashell that you have to your ear. How many of us do that exact same kind of thing? We know that this relationship is not working. We know that this job is not working. We know that whatever this is, but we are creatures of habit who feel the need to continue to do. And there are some of us that when change shows up, we are knocked down by it. We are held captive by it. And yet there are others who seize the opportunity to recognize that everything changes. And if everything changes, then why not harness the power of the change? We just had a very interesting thing happen over the last couple of years, right? It forced us to change. This thing called COVID. Now, there are some who resisted and fought and still are fighting. They are refusing to wear masks, or they are refusing to get a vaccine, or they are refusing, and that's a personal choice. That's a personal choice. But what I'm saying is, are you doing it simply because you are resisting change? Because some of us resist just because we don't like change. We want the same old, we want we want things to be the way they once were. We want to make something great again, like it was in the past. We want to reflect on nostalgia because those were the good old days. We are always driving forward while looking in the rearview mirror, because that time back when was better than now. But if that's what we're doing, then in essence, we are perpetuating the same energy, the same stereotypes, the same biases, the same prejudices of that time, because we're rear focused instead of forward focused. Instead of living forward, we are living backwards. And yet, we can't truly live backwards because everything is moving forward, whether we want it to or not. You can hold your breath, cross your fingers, do a yoga position, channel your chakras, and you are still going to age. You can light a candle, you can sing a mantra, you can get a practitioner, and relationships are still going to evolve and change. Children are still going to grow up and eventually move out of our homes and eventually move on into their own lives with families of their own. Things change. That seed, when planted, is going to become a flower, a tree, a something. It's not going to remain dormant if it's planted. Everything changes. So our invitation is, well, let's adapt and change with it. Let's harness the power that is inherent in, through, and as all of creation, spirit, God, the universe, is ever expanding consciousness. And what it is, we are. So if it is ever expanding consciousness, and it is showing up in, through, and as each and every one of us, then the moment we try to hold on, Tracy, don't let go, girl, because hold on tight. Change is happening anyway. But we're trying to hold on to Monday. Well, no, because nobody likes Monday. We're trying to hold on to the weekend and squeeze every last ounce of out of the weekend because it's going to be Monday soon, or spring break is going to end soon. I got to go back to work. But what if back to work is actually forward to work? Because it's a new day, it's a new you, it's a new opportunity. So what if we never really go back to school? What if we never really go back to sleep? What if everything is forward? Because everything is evolving and changing. We are adapting. We are transforming and transmuting rather than resisting. Robin Williams, one of my favorite folks, said, change is not popular. We are creatures of habit as human beings. I want it to be the way it was. But if you continue the way it was, there will be no is. Because if I am focused on what was and I want things to be the way they were, then am I really focused on the present? Am I really focused on the moment now? For any of you who have ever been with me when I've done a treatment or a meditation, I tend to reference this breath that we are breathing right now is always in the present. We can never breathe tomorrow's breath, and we can't re-breathe yesterday's breath. But when we are rear focused, it's almost like we are trying to say, Tracy, remember that day we were riding our bikes and I got out of wind because we were going uphill? But then we came down and I was like, I took that nice long deep breath. I need that again. And Tracy's going to look at me like, dude, what the heck are you doing? You can't get that. This is breath now. You can't get a breath that you breathed 2 weeks ago. Sit down, get some tea, meditate. You can only be present now. Dr. Ronnie reminded us, if I'm not mistaken, last week during the either pre-service meditation or in-service spiritual practice, that our bodies are always in the now. Like I can remember something in the past, but my body doesn't go there. I can forecast some future day, but my body doesn't go there. My body is always right here. So the moment we are allowing ourselves to be present, be in the here and now, breathe now, think now, plan now, harness the power of now, then our lives begin to shift in a different way. This thing called excellence, extraordinary living flows up within us. Because as Ernest Holmes says, keeping the goal in mind and refusing to be baffled or defeated, with uplifted thought and calm but definite purpose, we cannot fail. Keeping the goal in mind, refusing to be baffled or defeated, we cannot fail. When we harness the power, when we are living in the present, this whole idea of our extraordinariness, our excellence, our spiritual magnificence flows. It flows. One thing, so this is where I am, I've been thinking about this whole idea of things being hidden. Does God hide anything from itself, Tracy? No. So that means the fullness of it must be present everywhere at all times. We may not look for it. We may not want to see it. We may choose to turn a blind eye to it kind of idea, but it's present. The all-pervadingness of spirit is always, that's why I never talk about the small, still voice of spirit. It is not a small voice. It is not a small presence. The voice of God does not whisper. It may sound like a whisper to us. It may feel like a whisper to us because we are focused on something else. But in this moment, we are grounded to this idea of excellence. Will Durant said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. What is our habituated way of showing up? Is it a habit to focus on the past? Is it a habit to focus on the future? Is it a habit to surrender our power to something or someone else rather than being grounded? Is it a habit to resist change? Is it a habit? Because if it is a habit, then what is showing up in our lives based upon that way of being in the world? Follow what I'm saying? Is it a habit to ground ourselves and pray when stuff hits the fan? Is it a habit to ground ourselves in that moment? Ooh, Tracy, let's pray. Boom, right here and right now. Anchor and pray. Or is it a habit first to vent or commiserate with folks and then have someone remind us, oh, we probably should pray? Which one is more of the habit? Because if it is a habit to do this, and we do this one prayer, well, that one singular act, unless it becomes the new habit, is not demonstrating our excellence. We are invited to change into a new way of being and showing up in the world that demonstrates our conviction, our persistence, our dedication to not just our spiritual practices, but our spiritual living. Because those are two different things. One is an act of meditation, and one is living meditation. Richard Rohr says, generally, we must be taken to happiness. We cannot find our way there by willpower or cleverness. Yet we all try, usually heading in the wrong direction. In other words, there are times when, because it's the flow, it's the way everyone else is moving. It's being in the world and of the world. It's the same old, same old. It's business as usual. It's the status quo. It's the normalcy of the world. And the normalcy of the world, the status quo of the world says, if you want to be happy, then you have to have this house, this picket fence, 2.5 children, this amount of money. You must look like this. You must, whatever that is. And many of us, we get in line with it. And we model our lives based upon that message rather than the message of our own divine spiritual excellence, where we say, I'm in the world because I am a physical being, but I am not going to be of the world. I am going to chart my own course and live in accordance with my spiritual magnificence, my divine birthright, and the truth of who and what I am, as the infinite I am that I am ever becoming. Breaking off can be scary, though, because we know family and friends who are going to be like, oh, you think you're better than us now because you're the first one to graduate college or first one to even go to college? Oh, you think you're better now because you're working out? Oh, you think you're better now because you're vegan or vegetarian? Oh, you think you're woke? Well, how woke are you? And then our friends and family, they either abandon us or they trigger us because they know our buttons. Remember what Ram Dass said, if you ever want to see just how enlightened you are, go spend a weekend with your family. They know us, they know our buttons. So for as long as we have those buttons, they can push them and trigger us. But the spiritual practice and way of showing up, moving out of line with that, being in alignment with spirit and not in alignment with the world, the buttons fade away. We transform ourselves and are transmogrified by the power of harnessing spirit, harnessing truth, and using it for our own good, using it for individual good and collective good. Richard Rohr also said, I welcome all thoughts, all feelings, all emotions, persons, situations, and conditions. Whoa, hold up, Richard. What'd you say? Did Richard just say he welcomes all situations, all people? Because I can think of a couple of people I ain't trying to welcome. I welcome all thoughts, all feelings, emotions, persons, situations, and conditions. It is in these moments that we are broken open and can release the blockages in our lives. Otherwise, we hold on to them with resistance. So welcoming all of this doesn't mean simply letting the abuser or the trauma-inducing person or situation persist. It means when this comes up, when they show up, I am anchored and grounded to not resist them, but I have boundaries that say, no, not on my watch. No, I will not accept that. But what I am not going to do is resist it and pretend that this doesn't exist, or deny these emotions or feelings, or deny that this kind of, I'm not being present and welcoming whatever shows up in me, because it gives me the opportunity to break open and release the blockages in my life. We seem insistent on not recognizing this universal pattern of growth and change. It seems that each of us has to learn on our own what is well hidden, but is also in plain sight. Change. It's happening to us all the time, no matter what. Change is inevitable. Growth, on the other hand, is optional. Are we growing? In other words, are we becoming spiritually mature? Change is going to happen. We are going to go through various iterations of, I am not the same person I was at 12 years old. Though my name may be the same and certain DNA-related biological things are the same, personality, triggers, trauma, there are a variety of things that are no longer that person. Same as 25. Hey, same as, how old was I yesterday? 55 years, a couple of weeks, and a couple of days and out. Not the same person, and neither are you. Change is inevitable. But when we harness the power, then we have the opportunity to grow, to evolve in more effective and empowered ways. Our invitation this week, should you choose to accept, journal or ask yourself, where in my life do I avoid change? And how is it that I attempt to do this? Like, what is my methodology of attempting to avoid it? Do I call people and say, I'm not available? Do I just not, like, what do we do? What is our methodology? Are there certain types of changes or situations that I avoid more than others? For example, relationships, aging, other habits, addictions. Are there certain things that I avoid more than I welcome the change in this area, but when it's this stuff, whatever this is, yeah, I ain't trying to change that. I enjoy this. Like, I enjoy eating cupcakes every day. I enjoy eating donuts every day. I enjoy screaming at the television and fussing at the children. I enjoy cursing at people in the car when driving and road. Like, do I resist because I enjoy it? Like, I get a certain kind of satisfaction from that. But when it's Tracy says, whatever Tracy says, and I'm like, oh, cool, I don't mind changing that. It's a change of a tie. Cool, I'll change my tie. I'll change my underwear. We're good when it comes to that. But this other stuff, I don't want to change. How effective is that? Tracy's giving me this look right now. What is one area that I can embrace this week and channel the energy of chance, which we change, channel the energy of change, the unknown, curiosity, and use it consciously for my betterment and excellence? So how can I harness the power of the unknown, harness the power of curiosity, like harness this power and use it to better my own life? And then lastly, have a conversation with dos personas about what two things most impacted you about today's message. Like, what two things made you go, or ooh, or ah? Have that conversation. Today's declaration or affirmation, I will read it first, then together. I am consciously aware of the presence of the Spirit in, through, with, around, and as me and all that is. Together.
I am consciously aware of the presence of the Spirit in, through, with, around, and as me and all that is.
So in this moment, just being present. God is all there is, and it's right here where each and every one of us is in full. The fullness of all that we are is this infinite divine Spirit. Oh, before the benediction, I want to, because some of you may not have been present for Diane's amazing pre-service meditation, so I want to reference a certain passage that she referenced. The aim of our search is to discover that the universe is individualized in each one of us, and that individuality within each one of us has the possibility of expanding to the universalization of the self. That which God is, the infinite power and presence, the infinite I am, is individualizing itself. So all of the work that we do, all of the spiritual practices, all of this thing that we do is about reconnecting to that which can never be unconnected. It's about remembering the truth about something that can never be separate or apart. It's about getting into alignment with something that we can never truly be out of alignment with, because that which God is can never be anything other than what it is. But it's in our conscious remembering, our conscious aligning, and our conscious connection to it that we are then harnessing the power of truth. leaping into change and curiosity and the mystery, knowing that right there where it is, there is power and the presence is. Knowing this, then we go out for the rest of our day and have an amazing day, because we are the generators of, we are the creators of, we are the co-creators of, we are the divine expressions of the infinite. And what we say and how we say it and how we show up matters. So today we go out and we make a difference. Knowing this to be the truth of our being, surrendered in gratitude, I simply let it be, and so it is.